Amazon just rolled out probably one of the most crucial return policies and changes they have done for sellers in I don't know how long, and they haven't even talked about it to anyone yet. So, Amazon recently rolled out these three settings for FBA returns, evaluation, and ownership settings. If you're curious, you can find this by going up to this cog in the right and then just going on over to your fulfillment by Amazon settings. You'll scroll down here and you'll find this right here. So these are three settings: returnless resolutions, returned item evaluation, and then damaged inventory ownership. Now, by default, returnless resolutions is disabled and the other two are enabled. Now, why do I say this is one of the most impactful changes that Amazon has made? Well, a couple of different things. So, returnless resolutions, what is this? This is essentially when Amazon gets to decide what they're going to do with inventory that needs to be returnless. So you can see the default here is disable returnless resolutions for all of your inventory and continue to allow customers to physically return items to Amazon fulfillment centers. That is key. The common thing is that essentially returnless resolutions is where exactly that. You don't have a return, right? So returnless is the normal. Now, that being said, a lot of people have products that they don't want to be returned to the Amazon center just because if it is damaged or it cannot be sold as new again or anything like that, it's just not profitable for them. It is more profitable for a lot of sellers to just allow people to keep the item and have a refund of the item than it is to allow the item to go back to Amazon, Amazon check it in, then they have to say, okay, you're going to take this item away anyways. All of that is usually less profitable for a lot of sellers. So this is a setting I would look at immediately. I would check every single one of your ASINs. Check to see if every ASIN you have is profitable, how often they are being returned, and how often they are back in sellable condition once they are returned. That's going to be the key crucial aspect here, is whether or not the product can actually be sold. So you can see that from your return settings and your return reports to see how many of your units of inventory are actually sellable or in sellable condition upon return. If you have a high likelihood of sellable condition, I would keep returnless resolutions off by default. However, if you have any ASINs that anytime they are returned, they are not sellable, and then Amazon's going to say they need to be disposed of, and they are going to charge you for that disposal because, of course, they will. In that case, then I would absolutely turn it off for those ASINs. Now, the other two. So FBA returned item evaluation. This is essentially where Amazon evaluates your items. So the default saying here is it's enabled. All customer returned items will be evaluated by Amazon associates to determine sellability. Items that are determined to be in new condition will be returned to your inventory for sale. Now, this is pretty crucial because this goes along with the last one of the returnless. So what I was just talking about, where people essentially have this situation where a lot of items they have may not be in sellable condition. However, this is the exact opposite. You may want to have that evaluation take place. However, you don't have to have that evaluation take place. You can actually just instead disable it for all ASINs or some ASINs, where all customer items will bypass the returns evaluation. All returned items will be made unfulfillable and will be ineligible for damage reimbursement. That's the key aspect here, is that they no longer, Amazon that is, will no longer reimburse you for damaged goods if you turn this setting off. I do not advise this, as this is going to be basically just another situation where Amazon is trying to circumvent their situation of actually having to pay for damaged goods. And you can actually check in recent times, Amazon has updated their FBA inventory. So if you go on over to your FBA inventory and you check out this inventory defect and reimbursement, Amazon has this entire section where you may have eligibility for claims in progress and resolved. This is exactly what they're talking about. Essentially, Amazon is trying to say, hey, we're not going to reimburse you for any damaged goods anymore that come through from the returns. So this is definitely one that I would not turn off for pretty much 90% of sellers. Now, the final one here is the damaged inventory ownership settings. This is the most crucial one that I need every single seller who is watching this to listen up for. And that is because this one will essentially allow Amazon to take full ownership over things. So in recent times and historically speaking, for any returns that you had on Amazon, this is something that I frequently would tell people to do. Do not allow Amazon to sell your products. Do not allow Amazon to wholesale any goods or anything like that. Turn off those settings because it will allow Amazon to essentially sell your product under a pseudo of Amazon warehouse on your listing as used, like new, or anything in between. So this is definitely something I would caution against, I would say. But first and foremost, what is this? All Amazon fault damaged inventory ownership will be retained by Amazon and we will reimburse you. We then sell or remove this inventory on Amazon warehouse or other channels. You will control the removal decision for all other inventory. Now, this is very important distinction because they are only saying that this is for Amazon fault damaged inventory. So this is different from essentially the typical return. So you have your typical Amazon return portal. So any Amazon returned product, you essentially can go through Amazon returns and you can say, hey, I don't want you to have to do anything with this. I want you to say that you're not going to do anything with this product. You're not going to sell it yourself. But Amazon frequently will say, hey, we're going to now sell that product. But I don't like this even more so because it's essentially just saying with Amazon that they can just, what is considered Amazon fault damaged, right? Like if Amazon has product that they could potentially make money on by damaging and then reimbursing you because the difference between the cost there is enough, I think they will do it. I do not trust Amazon enough to not just damage my inventory for them to be able to go through and then sell the product themselves. So this is something that I would really, really heavily advise that people take a very close look at. Now, the big thing behind this that I don't like is that if you disable it, when choosing this option, you are opting out of damaged inventory evaluation. That's a big crucial aspect. All of your ASINs will not be evaluated for damage fault ownership. They will be marked as defective and owned by you. Your inventory will be ineligible for damage reimbursement and will be removed in accordance with your automated unfulfillable settings. That is the most crucial part here that I need every single person to understand. Essentially that now, in historically speaking, if Amazon damaged your product, Amazon would then reimburse you for that product and would allow that product to be sent back to you. No, they're not doing it anymore. If Amazon damages your product, they will pay you the bare minimum cost of manufactured goods, so sourcing cost of your product, and then they will turn around and they will sell that product to whoever is willing to buy it as a used product. You no longer get to own that product. It is not yours. You do not have control over that inventory. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the scummier things Amazon has done in recent times. I really don't like this change for the simple fact that it essentially takes away any ownership rights from any type of seller who has inventory damaged by Amazon. Amazon now gets to essentially say, hey, this is just everything that you have to do. You don't get to choose anymore whether or not your product is owned by you and you get reimbursed for it, even though it is our fault. So Amazon will admit fault to having done something, but they will not reimburse you only if you get the product back at the end of the day, which again, likely for a lot of times is just not going to be all that feasible for most sellers. And the worst part about it is essentially Amazon will take this and they will damage your product. They will then pay you the sourcing cost of good. And then from there, they will say, hey, fantastic that we accidentally damaged this. Here's the sourcing cost. We're now going to sell this and make a potential, reimbursement on whatever we had to pay you, or even potentially a profit in some cases, right? And likewise, the only other option is them saying, hey, we damaged your product. Sorry, we're not going to pay you anything, but you can pay us to have it removed out of our warehouse that we damaged it within. I don't know about you, but that does not seem all that good of a change, in my opinion. So I think this is just another way where Amazon is trying to kind of control the entire system and squeeze as much tiny little amount of revenue and profitability as possible. I don't know any other logistics company, any other 3PL, anything where essentially if they damage your product and goods, that they will then pay you back for that product and goods, but then sell the inventory. I don't know any place that does that. Amazon, as far as my knowledge goes, is the only one. So all that being said, if you are a seller right now, I would hop on and immediately go and change these things based on what makes sense for you. My opinion, I don't like the aspect of them skipping out return evaluations. I don't like the idea of returnless for everything, but I do like it for some products where it makes sense. I really, really don't like the damaged inventory, but that is something that we're going to have to deal with in the future. I personally might turn it off just because I don't want Amazon Warehouse selling used goods on my listings.